Would you speak up for the oppressed if doing so could cost you your source of livelihood? I'd like your personality and would be glad to know you and be your man. What are your chances of going for a doctorate degree if that interests you? A long distance friendship thing all the way from America to Nigeria with a man. Do you see where I'm going with this? I don't want to do that. I'm not one of those people who doesn't question things when it comes to religion. I believe God gave us brains to think. So if I see something that feels a little inconsistent or something that is misinterpreted often, best believe I'm going to talk and ask questions about it. Somebody said, Achalugo, come and gym my body for me, please. Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be answering a couple of your questions. I asked you guys to send me some questions on Instagram and also here on YouTube, and I got quite a lot. I'm actually scared to go through it because I feel like this video is going to be long. So I'm going to answer them as quickly as possible and answer the ones that I can answer, okay? All right. So before we get into it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the notification bell and then leave a comment below because it helps YouTube to push it to new viewers. Okay. So the first question says, are you religious? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in heaven and hell? So I don't know if to use the word religious. Okay, I do believe in God. I'm a Christian. My relationship with God is still it's kind of shaky. Okay, but for the most part, I was raised Christian. I still believe in God. In everything that I try to do, in every big step in my life, I always involve God, and I always pray to God and say, "Hey, take control." You know, all of that. I think everybody's relationship with God is supposed to be personal, and that's why I don't talk much about it. Okay. Next question. How were you able to navigate the job search after school here in the US? Very good question. So, how I was able to navigate it was to start applying ahead of time. I feel like sometimes people, and see, the outcomes can be different for different people, right? But it's possible that some people might just wait until the last minute before they start job hunting. Like, for instance, I know that employers start recruiting from like late, like end of the year ish. So from November, December, and then even from January, like they start recruiting really aggressively towards those periods of the year. And I started job hunting since October 24. In fact, the first job I got here, that's besides the one I worked at Missouri S&T, the first job I got here, I started applying for it in, I think, October or November 23. And the job I have right now, the job I'm about to start in June, I started applying for jobs in October, November 2024. So I always do it ahead of time, and I always go for career fairs. Like in my school, they have career fairs. That's where I actually got my job from. I got it from a career fair. So when you go for a career fair, you talk to employers, you make conversations with people. Even if they're not looking for people from your major, just still go there and talk to them. So that's how I've been able to navigate it, just by being 10 steps ahead of time and just keep applying aggressively and not waiting until the last minute. So I hope that answers your question. Next question says, sorry, my laptop is down here. That's where I'm reading from. So, what analogy best describes what you consider true happiness? That's my God. Okay, so I'm going into this blind. So I didn't really have time to think about some of my answers. What analogy best describes what I consider to be true happiness? I don't want to give an analogy, right? Because I feel like analogies are, you can go wrong very quickly with analogies. But I would say peak happiness to me is just having financial freedom, okay? The freedom and flexibility to do what you love and do what you want. Because it's one thing to maybe work a job that pays you a lot of money, but you don't like the job, or maybe you're miserable because you don't like the people you work with. So I think for me, true happiness is just doing whatever you actually love to do and just being financially free, because then you can use your money to do so many things. Okay, so next question says, what part of the Igbo are you from? Help me, the Igbo ethnic group. So I'm from Anambra State in Nigeria. Hope that answers your question. I'm from Demili South is my local government, and I'm from Alo. I'd like your personality and would be glad to know you and be your man. Okay, so let me say this. I've been getting a lot of relationship questions. Like, people always ask about relationships every time I say, hey, ask me a question, stuff like that. See, the thing here, I'm not, okay, let me say it now once and for all. anything romantic relationships and all of that, you're not getting it from me. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm not somebody who believes in putting that part of my life on the internet. Now, if I pop up married with a husband one day or something, sure, no problem. But I'm not going to like come on here and start divulging information about my personal or my relationship life, right? Because I feel like I already put out so much out there. Like, you guys already know so much about me, and I need to keep some things to myself. So that's why I don't talk about stuff like that. And I even had to put a disclaimer on Instagram. I was like, please ask me intellectual questions, because I'm tired of the whole relationship. I don't know. Nigerians love relationships so much. Like, just take me as I am, okay? Don't try to attach me to a man or anything like that to get to know me more. That's not something I want to do, and I'm not going to do it. Okay, you're not going to be seeing all of that on YouTube. That's not. You're not going to be seeing it from me on the internet. Period. That's not me. And it's kind of, I don't know, like how I live on the other side of the world. Anyway, what has been your biggest motivation and what are your plans post graduation? My biggest motivation, honestly, right now, I think is being financially free and being able to do what I absolutely love. Like, I'm such a huge champion of do what you love, even if it's a 9 to 5 or something like that. Anything you want to do that brings you money, I feel like having that element of loving what you do is very important. And that's why I still, go hard on YouTube. My As far as my plans post graduation, so I already have a job. I start my new job in June. There's a video that I posted before this one, so you might want to watch that if you want to know some of my plans, like in depth post graduation. Of course, I'm still working on some things with immigration and whatnot, but I'm not going to talk about them here. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm trying to skip through the questions as quickly as I can. I'll link that video here so you can actually see some of the plans that I have post graduation, because I want to start getting into activities. I want to start meeting new people professionally, recreationally. I want to start going for more events. I want to travel more within the States. So those are some of my, my plans, and also work my way up the corporate ladder, because I'm a corporate girl. Somebody asks, do you reply messages on any social media platform? I want us to be friends. I follow you everywhere, lol. Okay, so I don't have an issue with men saying they want to be friends. It's just that usually Nigerian men saying they want to be friends with you, they always want like something else, and I can't give that something else. At this point, I don't know if I want to be doing a long distance friendship thing all the way from America to Nigeria with a man. Do you see where I'm going? Do you see where I'm going with this? I don't want to do that. So I do reply messages sometimes on Twitter, but like if the motive is to, I don't know, become friends, it's kind of weird to, I don't know how I feel about that. It's kind of hard to do that, like distance friendship. Next question. Do you plan to relocate soon to Texas? So it depends. I'm looking at Texas, Georgia, and Arizona. Okay. So those are my top three states that I'd like to move to. I'm also thinking about DC, Washington, DC, or somewhere in the DMV. Yeah, but for now, my job is in St. Louis, Missouri. So, sorry. Actually, my job is in the Midwest. I'm just saying the Midwest because it's kind of confusing when I start explaining all that stuff. So, I don't know about soon, but I know about eventually if everything works out. Okay, next question. What's the greatest fear you ever overcame, and how did you feel afterwards? What's the greatest fear I ever overcame? I've had a couple, but I don't want to I don't think fear is the accurate word. I feel like, when you go through life, you have certain periods in your life that are very challenging, right? And I wouldn't call them fears per se. I think some of the most challenging things I've faced would be maybe being scared of being unemployed here, especially here in America. Being scared of unemployment, that's one. And it was the same thing kind of in Nigeria, especially when I graduated from my undergraduate degree, and before I started serving, I was already looking for a job. But I was very lucky that I got a job back then, and that job was what I did in Nigeria up until a few months before I left. So I don't think I would call them fears per se, but in terms of how I usually overcome all those things, I said it in the video I filmed before this one. I'm a very optimistic person, right? I believe very much in the fact that things are going to work out for me, and I go ahead to do those things. So if I find ways to solve a problem and I have to consult so many different people, I'm going to do it. So I guess that's kind of how to answer your question, I guess. Okay. Next question: how deep is your faith in Jesus Christ? Why did you just assume? I know I just said I'm a Christian, but you don't know me personally, so why did you just assume that I'm a Christian? I'm kind of more, I'm not answering the question just yet, but I'm kind of more sensitive to when people ask questions like this, because you need to know that other religions exist apart from the one that you are practicing. And I think maybe living in America has made me more open-minded to that. So I'm just saying, don't just go off the bat and ask people how deep is your faith in Jesus Christ. You don't know if they're Christians or if they're atheists or if they're Muslim or Buddhist or whatnot. So my faith is very deep. I still have some issues with my relationship with God. I question a lot of things. I'm not one of those people who doesn't question things when it comes to religion. I question a lot of things, right? I don't believe in taking everything hook, line, and sinker. I believe God gave us brains to think. So if I see something that feels a little inconsistent or something that is misinterpreted often, best believe I'm going to talk and ask questions about it. So I don't think that belief in something requires you to not have any questions. I don't think God is that kind of I was going to say I don't think God's that kind of person, but you get the gist of it. Okay, so next question: do you know if someone can join the US military from outside the US? No, you can't unless you are a US citizen. Maybe you were born in the US and you're a citizen, but you were raised in Nigeria, that kind of thing. Unless that, but I don't think you can join from outside. The whole premise of being drafted requires you to be in the country. So I'm just going to end it there. Okay, next question. Will you come back to Nigeria? Not anytime soon. I don't think so. What were your fondest memories in your primary school years? I didn't like primary school very much. I hated primary school. I feel like I was low-key feel like I was bullied in primary school. Okay, so I remember one time one of our teachers used to he separated us according to people who were smart in the class, right? And there was group A, group B, group C, group D. And I think I was put in group C, like the not so smart. Meanwhile, my only weakness was just mathematics. But that's besides the point. So I don't really have good memories from primary school. I was very happy to leave primary school. I didn't like it there. People used to bully me a lot, and it was no. Okay, so next question. Why don't you respond to your DMs? I can't possibly respond to every single person who DMs me. Like most people, you don't know people on the internet. Remember that people are strangers. Okay. Next question: how was the transition from the Nigerian school system to the one abroad? I think it was very easy, especially because the fields of education that I'm in are very similar. So for my bachelor's, I studied English and literary studies, and then for my master's, I did English and technical. My degree says technical communication. So it was very easy because it's like the same, kind of like the same thing. I could apply so many things that I learned from my bachelor's degree in my master's degree and vice versa. In terms of the transition, like getting used to it, I think it took me a while. Like it took me a few months to get used to how things were done because everything was done online. You submit it online. You submit most assignments online anyway. And I kind of liked the way it was or the way it is because your professors are more active. They respond more to emails quickly. They're not as rigid and annoying as some Nigerian professors. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a 9. My God, we have so many questions. Okay, what motivated you to start going to the gym? What motivated me? Okay, a couple of things actually motivated me. So first of all, I used to have, I think my dad is still overprotective. My mom, not so much anymore because we're all grown up, but I used to have overprotective parents, right? And I used to live with them and I just needed an outlet to get out of the house because I was working remotely in Nigeria and I would be in the house all day from morning till night. And I needed something else to do. So that's why I started going to the gym. Also, I think my parents are actually quite active. Like I remember a time in my life where my dad used to do sit-ups every morning. And my mom too is very active. Like she likes to exercise, even if it's like once a week. She likes those kinds of things. My sisters are like that as well. My brother plays basketball. So I kind of come from a family of people who like being active. And also, I wanted to be a muscle mommy. I wanted to be sexy as hell. So, the next question: I'm relocating to Canada soon, and I'm a bit worried about getting a job. Please, can you do a video on optimizing my resume when applying for different roles? I think I have a video that I posted about this last year when I was talking about how I landed my internship. So I'm going to link that video here. but also for the sake of just answering the question, right? I think gather all the experiences you have, every single thing, and try to present it as, it's not like you're lying, right? But try to present it in a way that is so professional that people know that at least you have ground knowledge of what you're applying for. And another thing is that you have to tailor your resume to the job description. When you're applying to a job online, you have to check for the job description and see what they're actually looking for. And then sometimes, in fact, I would say, okay, a lot of times people might meet those requirements, but maybe they just don't have certain words on their resume, because sometimes employers might use AI to check through your resume and search for certain words that they are looking for. So when you go through the job description, that actually really helps. And it also helps to have a particular kind of job that you're applying for. I know that when you're an international student, sometimes you don't really have the luxury of just applying for any kind of job. Especially here in America, you have to apply for a job that is related to your field of study, especially when you're just graduating or if you're looking for a summer internship. So I would say tailor your resume to the job description and then just keep applying. Don't be scared. Be as optimistic and as delusional as possible. That's my advice to you. But I'll link that video here so you can watch it. Okay, next question. What are your chances of going for a doctorate degree if that interests you? See, I actually really want to get my PhD. I really do. I don't know when. I don't think I can do it right now, but I want to do it before I get married, or at least before I start having children. That's what I really want to do. So chances of me doing that would be like a 7 to 8. But you know how life is. Never say never. You don't know what life can bring up. Circumstances are different and things change as you get older. But ideally, I'd really want to get my doctorate. Next question. What was your master's degree in and what motivated you to pursue that degree? So my master's degree was in technical communication. What motivated me to pursue it? How many of my two of my sisters have master's degrees, right? It's kind of like a family thing, get your master's and all that stuff. So it's not really a big deal. What motivated me though, when I saw the description, technical communication, I was like, okay, this sounds like something I could do. So I just did a quick Google search of what it entails. And it turns out that it's basically what I was doing as a job in Nigeria, knowing how to write for different audiences. I was a content and user experience writer. I still am. But I just realized that technical communication, it's just like communication across all fields, like learning how to write for people in the sciences, people in the arts, people in business, stuff like that. So when you're working in an organization and they have different things that they do or different customer bases or whatever, you know how to communicate with that customer base based on what the business needs. Does that make sense? You can just do like a quick Google of technical communication and then the information will come up, because I'm trying to go through the questions as quickly as possible. I heard that when you stop lifting, you add weight. Don't know if it's true, and are you scared of it? Gaining weight and losing weight highly depends on what you eat. So there are people who lose weight without going to the gym and they just change their diet. And there are people who gain weight without going to the gym and they just change their diet. Now, the question is how those diets are, how effective they are in the long run, how healthy or how unhealthy they are. So if anything, when you stop weightlifting, you kind of lose some weight, because weightlifting helps you to build muscle. So that weight that people gain from going to the gym and eating constantly, that's muscle. And muscle weighs. Do you understand? Muscle is heavy. So when you stop lifting, you might lose your gains. That's like you don't lose your muscles. Obviously, you still have muscles in your body, but they're just not going to be as visible as they were when you were lifting. Does that make sense? So you don't necessarily add weight unless you let yourself go and just consume junk food through and through. So it's not necessarily a case of whether you're going to gain weight when you stop lifting. People don't lift weights just to lose weight. There are different types of training. Okay, there is body recomposition. There's so many. There's HIIT. So they're not lifting to lose weight. They're lifting to sometimes they're lifting to gain weight. Like me, I lift to gain weight. But the kind of weight it's not just weight that you gain from eating anything. Does that make sense? I hope that answers your question. Okay, next question. What is your passion? My passion is let me see, I have a couple. I like traveling. I like making videos. I like talking. I like giving my opinions because I'm very opinionated. In case you haven't noticed, I guess you must have noticed. But yeah, those are my passions. I also like communication. Anything regarding communication, you find me there. English, languages. I feel like I'm somebody who picks up languages easily if I actually put my mind to it. So that's one of my. That's, I guess that answers your question. Okay. Somebody said, Achalugo, come and gym my body for me, please. Do you know how much fun that would be to like exchange bodies with people and you help them build it and then you give it back to them? Although I don't know how sustainable it would be in the long run. And then I don't want anybody to like come and destroy all the work I've worked for with my own body. So, my God, that's really funny. Okay, next question. How do you deal with fear and anxiety or when things seem bleak at the moment? Honestly, my first port of call is to cry because I have to express my emotions. I don't believe in keeping it together. I don't believe in that. If I need to cry and talk to somebody, I will cry and talk to somebody. And then secondly, after crying and getting all of that out of my system, I start looking for solutions. Okay. There was a time my car stopped me on the road and I was just so stressed out. My God. Anyway, I got out of that situation. I called my mechanic and he helped me. In terms of life, I think my approach is to find alternatives. Like, if something is not looking very good, I just find an alternative. And even if the alternative means I have to settle, then I'm going to settle. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes you give some things fighting chances, sometimes you don't. Did you get a scholarship for your master's degree? I got a partial scholarship. Okay, I got a 25% scholarship. So my parents actually helped me through my time here in school. Some people get full scholarships. It depends on the schools that you apply to. So if you apply to a blue state, for instance, they might, don't take my word for it, they might be more likely to give you a full scholarship. I don't know how it works for other countries, but I know from what I know in America, it just depends on where you apply to and it depends on the school. How often do you work out and gym partner workout video? Are you interested? I work out 4 times a week. I used to do 5 times a week before. In fact, in Nigeria, I used to do 6 times a week. I would even go on Saturdays, but now I'm kind of reducing how often I push my body and push my limits and all that. So I just do 4 times a week, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Gym workout video only depends on if we are in close proximity of each other. If someone is in another country or another state, then that's damn near impossible unless we're in the same area. Okay, next question. I stumbled upon your page and I think you're beautiful. My name is Nobi. Can I get to know? Okay. Said ask questions I'll be able to answer on YouTube. Sorry. Thank you for the compliment. Next question. Would you speak up for the oppressed if doing so could cost you your source of livelihood? I think I would. It depends on what phase of my life I'm in. So for instance, right now I'm an immigrant in America. There are certain things that I don't speak on. I don't share my opinions on politics online. I don't talk about that stuff because I know that I'm still in a position where the country I'm in has a lot of power over me and there can be very strong repercussions. And sometimes it's just not worth the hassle. Do you understand what I mean? So it depends on where you're at. If it's in a country like Nigeria, maybe speaking up against the current administration and losing your livelihood in Nigeria, I could think about it. But at the same time, I wouldn't go to jail for Nigeria. I wouldn't die for Nigeria. It's not worth it because Nigerians forget very easily and they don't respect people who actually fight for justice. So I would say yes, but it depends a lot on what is at stake and it depends a lot on what period of my life I'm in. I hope that makes sense. Okay, next question. Since you moved to the US to feel the political tension that you see on the internet, is it more chill? I don't talk about American politics on the internet. That's a no-go area for me. Okay, I was an international student, so certain things I think are off limits for me. Next question. When are you going to take that 2-year break and model full-time? This beauty is wasting. My beauty will not waste in Jesus' name. But thank you so much. Thank you. I actually really want to get into modeling. I might do maybe fitness modeling. That is something I really need to start prioritizing and looking for opportunities for. So thank you so much for reminding me because that's one of the things I really want to do. I feel like I already have the body and the look for it and I really want to explore it. So thank you. Okay, next question. You look great. Thank you. I've always been curious, for how long have you been working out? I've been working out for exactly 2 years. prior to 20, I started going to the gym consistently in 2023. But prior to that, I would work out with my mom at home or work out with my sisters, like going to their gym and everything. That was back in Nigeria. So I would just say 2 years, like working out consistently, 2 years. All right, those were all the Instagram questions. Now let's go to the YouTube questions. So somebody says a breakdown of all leg workouts you do. I've seen more of squats, and wondering if that's I'm wondering if only that built your lower body. Okay, so I actually have a video of my full workout split, and I'm going to link it here. But besides what you're going to see in that video, I also do seated leg curls. If you follow me on Instagram, you see that I post my workout videos a lot on my Instagram stories, right? Although they expire, I should actually save them more. But I do seated leg curls, and that's for my hamstrings. Your hamstrings is the muscle group found in the back of your legs. Okay, so that's what I do. And then I also do RDLs, where you see that in the video. So I do squats, front squats specifically. I've stopped doing back squats because I always lean forward when I squat, and I can't help it because I'm tall and I have very long legs. So it's easier to just put the weight in front of you as a tall person when you're squatting, so that way your back can be more upright. That's for squats. I also do hip thrusts, but I don't prioritize glute exercises. I know I should, but I already have a lot, and I'm not trying to get it bigger than it looks right now. So I'm fine with it. I do hip thrusts and I do hip abductors. Those are the two major glute exercises that I do. I also do back extensions for glutes as well, but that's like on a day when I feel very lazy to do an actual workout in the gym. I also do Romanian deadlifts. That's RDLs. That's also supposed to be for your hamstrings. I do weighted wall sits. Weighted wall sits targets your quads. So your quads are found in the front of your legs. That's in your thighs. Those are your quad muscles. And then I also use the hip abductor machine that targets your inner thighs. Okay. Another thing is genetics, honestly. My mom has an athletic build. It's genetics, I'll be very honest with you. Okay, yeah, I do walking lunges as well, but that's also supposed to target your quads. So one of my major goals is to grow my quad muscles. Okay, I love it when people are walking and you can see the quad definition in their thighs. I really love that. So that's what I'm trying to get to. But honestly, if you do it consistently, if you do all these things consistently, you're definitely going to see results. All these exercises I've given you, they have different variations, right? Lunges can either be forward lunges or backward lunges, but walking lunges, obviously you're walking forward. So that's just an example. So I hope that answers your question, but I'm going to link that video here so you can see all the exercises that I do. In your opinion, what programs do you think are high in demand over there? I think anything in AI is in high demand, things in engineering, anything with technology. But honestly, okay, I know people often look at fields where things are in demand, but I also think don't completely rule out doing what you like. Okay, for instance, I'm doing what I like, and a lot of people will say it's hard to get a job as somebody that is not in STEM, and anything in STEM basically is in high demand. But people often say it's hard to get a job that's not in STEM if you're coming to America, and it might be true, it may not be true, but for me, I got an opportunity, so that's that. I would say prioritize anything in STEM and in business. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Let me see. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, hope that I would have at least started my PhD because I really want to get one. Honestly, just for the fun of it. I just want to get one for the fun of it, and also for the doctor title because I think that's really cool. So hopefully I would have gotten my PhD. Thinking about marriage, I honestly don't know. I was going to say in 5 years maybe I might be married, but I don't know. I'm not the type to rush into marriage at all. I'm not rushing anywhere. But in 5 years, I definitely hope that I would have started my PhD, and I want to be more financially stable than I am right now. What's the most difficult thing about relocating to the US? The most difficult thing, in my opinion, is immigration and finding pathways to stay back. It's not enough to just come here and do your master's, right? You need to think of a plan if you want to stay back, or even if maybe you want to use it as an avenue to get to another country. For instance, maybe going to Canada. If you want to settle down here in the US, there's a lot of forms you have to fill out. There's a lot of things you have to do. Like you have to really do a lot of intellectual digging and just trying to understand the system, because the information is out there, but sometimes it's kind of difficult for people to understand, and then they kind of get stuck. So I think some of the most difficult parts is just immigration, because I don't know if people know this, but according to like the US categories of visas, an F1 student, like a student is not an immigrant. An F1 is the kind of visa, or F1 or F2 is the kind of visa that you get if you're a student. So that's classified as a non-immigrant visa. So I would say that immigration is one of the most difficult parts, but if you do it correctly and you're true to the course, then hopefully it works out, because it's always a 50-50 chance, if you know what I mean. But if you're around the right people, I really think that you'll get somewhere and you'll be fine. First of all, I'd like to say that you're really beautiful and you've got a good body as well. Reason you watch my videos. So you don't watch my videos to hear what I have to say. You're only looking at, okay, well, I don't know. Thanks. Thank you. But I want you to watch my videos because it actually impacts you. Okay, 3 questions. Would you be coming down to Nigeria anytime soon? No, I won't be coming to Nigeria anytime soon. Are you dating anyone? Okay, so I don't answer any questions about dating and all that stuff. No. How old are you? I hate saying my age online. I'm sorry. I'm one of those. Yes, I'm one of those people. Yes, I'm one of those people. I don't like saying my age online, but I'm in my 20s. Next question. How is navigating things now compared to the first time you got there? I think navigating things has become incredibly easier. Like, at least I have a clearer understanding of the system. Not like I didn't have it, right? When I first came, I still knew what to do and what to not do, a couple of things here and there. But now I think I have a deeper understanding of how things work, and I'm more confident in navigating how everything is in this country. And I think I've actually settled down pretty good. Okay, last question. As someone who has a background in English language and has worked in HR, what inspired your course in technical writing? Okay, so my course is technical communication. The program is technical communication, but technical writing was a course within that program. So I want to correct something real quick. Sorry, the correction part of me jumping out. So when you're admitted to a school, even in Nigeria, I don't know about other schools in Nigeria actually, but I know that in Covenant University, that's the university I went to, you're admitted to a program, right? So within that program, there are courses. Does that make sense? I want to make that distinction before I start saying what I'm saying. So my background was in English and literary studies. Okay, it wasn't just English language, because I still did things around literature and all that stuff. So it was a blend of literature and English language. English language is different from English literature or from literature and English and all that. English language purely focuses on, let's say, linguistics, the history of the language, morphology, computational linguistics. What else? Periods in English, it focuses on the technicalities of the language, but that's not the only thing I'm trained in. I'm also trained in the literature, the deeper part of it, the way it affects people's communication, stuff like that. So I want to make that distinction as well. And someone who has worked in HR. So my work in HR was just for 1 year. Honestly, I switched to content and design, like content and user experience writing. So when I count my experiences, I just say that working in HR was like a gateway for me to actually find what I like to do. What inspired my program or me choosing technical communication? So I'm very good with communicating, okay? I'm good with writing, I'm good with talking, I'm good with talking to people. I'm good at like getting people to listen to what I have to say. So that it was kind of like a no-brainer. And considering my work experience in Nigeria, like writing for different technical products and stuff like that, anything communication, it was just a no-brainer. I was like, okay, this is just an extension of what I did for my bachelor's, and it's also what I did professionally in Nigeria, but I was just exposed to more. So that's kind of what inspired it. Does that make sense? So my job in HR was just like, it was a thing of chance and luck. And when I found out that I didn't really like it, I switched paths. And I'm really glad that I was able to do that in the company where I was working at. Oh my God, I'm so tired. This video is 43 minutes long as I'm filming right now. So I'm going to have a long time editing. Anyway, thank you guys so much for all your questions. I was very happy to have gotten so many of them. And I hope I answered you guys' questions properly. Okay, so now that you guys know me a lot better than you probably did, I hope that it makes you stick to the channel. Okay, please watch my videos. Okay, now we're at 5k subscribers, so I need my views to match the subscriber count. I want to be averaging 1,000 views per video. Okay, average. So as you're subscribed, please just make sure that you're watching. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to also subscribe. Leave a comment below so that YouTube can push this video to new viewers, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.